Welcome to the Spotlight. I'm David Rose, and we begin with a wild story involving the U.S. Marshals, an escaped felon who built ghost guns for the cartel, and his ex-girlfriend who wanted to get him out of her life, but ended up with her life turned upside down. Andrew Kristovich got busted by the feds in 2018 for manufacturing AK-47s for a Mexican drug cartel. He was sent to a minimum security federal prison camp in Sheridan, Oregon. While there, he was communicating with an ex-girlfriend named Shauna via a smuggled cell phone. Kristovich lied and convinced her that he was being released early due to cancer treatments he was undergoing, then threatened to harm her and her young children if she didn't pick him up from prison when he was released. Except he wasn't released. He escaped the prison, hid in the bushes, and then jumped into her car when she arrived to pick him up. He kidnapped and tortured Shauna, then stole her car and went on the run, ditching that vehicle in Edmonds, Washington, and kicking off a multi-state manhunt by the U.S. Marshals. Kristovich's luck ran out in Nevada. Carson City Sheriff Ken Furlong tracked him down to a remote piece of property next to a penitentiary. Kristovich was staying in a tent. Deputies watched the property carefully and saw that there were multiple people with guns and young children. So they brought in 2 SWAT teams in armored vehicles. Sheriff Furlong says when they pulled up, Kristovich stuck his head out of the tent and saw the overwhelming odds. So he tossed this AR-15 on the ground that had 5 magazines with it and gave himself up. Deputies cuffed him and turned him over to the marshals. Kristovich is now back in federal custody and will likely be getting more years in a higher security facility. I spoke with Shauna, who is in hiding right now with her kids.
Are you somewhere safe?
Yes, I'm in a confidential location through a domestic violence shelter.
She tells us she doesn't even recognize her former friend.
He has completely changed, and I don't know who he is anymore. He's somebody very scary.
Shauna says she had messaged Kristovich that she was moving on with her life and thinks that may have set him off.
I think that's why he walked out the doors and he left, was because he didn't want to know that his property was with anybody else because he believed he owned me.
She says Kristovich had cancer in the past, and he told her that due to his treatments, his lawyer was able to secure a compassionate release. Kristovich asked her to pick him up from the prison. She refused, and that's when she says he turned nasty.
He told me that it would be a lot easier on me if I were to be the one to come pick him up, that I didn't want to know if he had to have somebody else bring me to my house, what would happen to me. He said he would rape me in front of my children.
So Shauna says she agreed to go and get him, even though it seemed fishy that he was being released late at night on a Sunday. When she got close to the prison, she says her bad feeling got worse.
When I was pulling up to the prison, he all of a sudden told me to pull in the first driveway right before the prison main entrance. Don't go in the prison main entrance. And I'm going, okay. So I text back, I said, wait a minute, are you not supposed to be getting out? Are you not supposed to be released right now?
At that point, she says he jumped out of the bushes and into her car. He told her to drive away and then ordered her to pull over. Kristovich then drove Shauna with her kids in the back of the vehicle to her apartment.
As much as you can you tell us a little bit about the horror that you experienced, just so people understand, you know, why we are looking so hard for this man?
When we got back to my house, he attacked me for nearly 2.5 hours. He raped me. If I made a noise, he would put his hands around my neck and proceed to strangle me until I passed out 3 times. And I know the only reason that I'm alive is because my neighbors heard the assault and they banged on the wall behind me in my bedroom. They banged on the wall. He panicked and he jumped up, got dressed, and fled out of my house and came back in because he didn't have my keys, and he threatened to kill me at that point, and he took off with my keys, my car. I said, take it. You know, I was more scared for my life. I would have done anything he wanted me to do just to stay alive, because I kept thinking while he had his hands around my neck and I'd start to black out, I just thought, oh my God, my kids are going to wake up and their mom's going to be dead. And what would happen then? What would happen to my boys? What would they have done if I wasn't here?
I'm so sorry for everything that's happened to you, and thank you for sharing that. And you want the world to know what you've been through, because you want this man back in prison where you feel safe again, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I can't go home. I've lost my home. I was able to recover my car, but that costed over $1,000 by the time I was able to get my it out at impound, and then the key fob made and everything else.
Where did they find your car?
They found my car at Burlington Coat Factory in Edmonds, Washington. Yeah.
What about the kids' seats and what kind of condition was it?
The car seats were thrown out the window or gone. I no longer have car seats for my kiddos. The interior of my car was completely trashed. There was all sorts of drug paraphernalia found in my car as well. And I'm grateful that it had a Cadillac converter still in it and that it ran, and that it wasn't involved in an accident.
You were so brave to talk about this. Why are you willing to talk publicly about something so horrific? Why do you feel
because I don't want
motivated?
this to happen to somebody else. And I believe that this isn't the first time he's put hands on a woman or hurt a woman. He was way too comfortable with the way he treated me. And it just came so naturally. So there's no doubt in my mind that he won't do it again. And maybe the next person won't be as fortunate as I was, and they'll lose their life.
Does he look the same in the photos that we've been showing the public?
No, he's definitely over 200 pounds. He's very puffy and swollen. His complexion is really red. I believe that he's on steroids, or he was. And it's like his cheeks are even like they're just swollen. It's swollen. He doesn't have the same look. And he has an evil look in his eye.